Who'd like to ask a question or make a comment? Yes, Carl.
To Stephen's paper, and George, you kind of touched on this. So, 87% in that pass category. Speaking as an examiner, we would always expect a more granular loan rating system. So there's going to be multiple pass ratings. So I think, and I know you probably don't have that granular data, but that's something. I agree with you. Not all pass-rated credits are created equal. You could have one secured by cash versus one secured by a hotel loan. Obviously, there's different risk, but they could both be pass credits, right? So.
Yep, I agree. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, it is a data limitation. There's a translation that happens between the bank's internal ratings and the supervisory ratings, and when that happens in what's recorded in the SNC detailed database that we're using is this aggregated pass rating. Unfortunately, it would be really nice to have more ratings, than we can do some of the tests that George suggested and investigate the validity of the model in more detail. One thing that we can do that I think helps and maybe simplifies the analysis is we can just lump all of the classified ratings together. We can lump pass ratings together and then study just downgrades from pass to non-pass ratings, just like the two-state pass non-pass model that I very briefly flipped through. That provides some intuition, and if you want to just think intuitively that the paper is about downgrading loans, then you can think about it that way too.
Yes, Smith. Yeah.
Hi, my question is for Brenda. At the end of Alex's presentation, he mentioned that basing your loan decision solely on credit scores could harm some people, and then you spoke about making sure to consider the character and the individual in the loan process. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more to if you think you serve a different customer than an organization that solely bases their decision on credit scores. If you could tell us a bit more about that.
Sure, thank you for that question. I do believe we serve a different customer than those that are basing their decisions on the credit score. I would say our low to moderate income people are our target audience, because for an example, as we over the years have looked at increasing fees, if it's on the deposit side or the loan side, our board is always very much asking the question, how does that impact those that maybe are more low to moderate income? And so we do keep that top of mind, and we're very passionate about giving those people an opportunity. So I would say we definitely serve a different demographic than those that are strictly using a credit score. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Question? Yes. Okay.
So I got a question for Siddharth. So I've thought about your paper a lot. Is there, and I guess the question is there an effect just based on maybe the level of the individual who goes to, I tend to think that there's going to be some level of influence if the person who transfers between offices is in a leadership position versus maybe just kind of a staff level job, but is that factored in? And I'm curious how you think about that.
Oh yeah, yes. I think the result is stronger if you have so we've looked at if the salary of the person is above the median salary in the office, etc. We also see one of the things I didn't mention is why do people move is generally because they're promoted. And so they're generally going, maybe from bigger office to smaller office, but in a much higher, more important position. So, yeah. So I think it does. It definitely does. And another thing you see is the people who move are more likely to be sort of higher paid employees are more likely to move. And so I think it does matter. I think that. And they're the ones we expect to have more influence on these decisions.
So, question back there? Yes.
Yes, thank you all for being here. Stephen, would you say your paper syncs up well with the agency proposal to remove advanced approaches?
That's a tough question, and it's hard for me to extrapolate from the paper. I think it's something we're thinking about.
And on internal risk ratings and the risk rating approach, was there a specific range of asset size bank that's a big culprit, or a specific type of loan?
We don't report any of that in the paper or investigate it. Something I didn't mention that is relevant to the likelihood that ratings are that exams occur for a loan in the SNC program is the size of the lender. There are different groups of lenders, so the sampling rates vary by the size, the type of lender. They vary by the previous loan rating for a given loan, and they vary by the size of the loan. So there are going to be these factors, we call them buckets in the SNC program. These determine the sampling probabilities. And so I had some funny things happening in the tables that described exactly how we're taking that into account. But yeah, so we're actually trying to eliminate any differences across lenders in the design of the tests.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, with that, could I ask everybody to please join me in thanking our panel on credit risk? Thank you, George.